Roland Burris, serious as serious can get. Hey, joining us now from the Tribune Tower from Belcher Law Offices, Matt Belcher. Matt, part two. Hey, I watched the hearings today and the witch hunt continued. Roland Burris answered the questions with articulate acumen, but it seemed a bit weird to have hearings concerning Burris and the governor's impeachment on the same day. Matt, help me out, man. Is this strange or is this just mandatory?
No, it's a little strange, Garrard. What's going on over there? How you feeling today?
Oh, man, you know, just watching the hearings was surreal. I'm like, okay, well, why is Roland Burris there with his lawyer? Why is Ed Jensen there, but Blagojevich is nowhere to be found? You know, talk to me, Matt.
Gerard, can I ask you a provocative question?
Yes.
All right. Who knew what and when did they know it? How come on December the 9th, all these politicians were calling for Rod Blagojevich's head to be on a platter, and yet on December the 8th, where were these voices?
Yeah.
Where were these politicians' voices the day before?
We saw a lot of people flip the script. You're absolutely right, Matt, with the question, and I know it's somewhat rhetorical but serious at the same time. It's like we're seeing everyone flip-flop at this point. I mean, Matt, the vote today was 21-0 to impeach Blagojevich.
Right. So my question to you is, maybe Blagojevich has a point here. Maybe he's not getting a fair hearing so far because the only information that they have is all secondhand information. Can I just run it really just very quickly? If you're familiar with the process of a person being indicted,
yes.
And that's sort of what happens in the House aspect of the impeachment process. All the House is saying is that sufficient evidence or probable cause exists to impeach Governor Blagojevich. Now the trial will take place in the Senate. And the trial will be presided over by the Chief Justice of the Illinois Supreme Court, Thomas Fitzgerald. And it's going to be up to Thomas Fitzgerald, in my opinion, as to what the rules are going to be. If you have a criminal trial, you're going to have to you have to find somebody guilty beyond a reasonable degree. So if there's a reasonable degree it's just like we talked about this before with R. Kelly. What that means is one thing. But now, in a civil case, if you sue somebody civilly for money damages, the standard is a preponderance of the evidence, which means just a little bit more than 50-50.
Yeah.
In this case, well, what standard are they going to apply?
There is no standard. I mean, we haven't heard any government tapes, nothing from the feds, no wiretaps. I mean, I couldn't believe what was taking place before my eyes.
Well, I think that the whole situation with Roland Burris coming down to testify today is, in my opinion, it's an agreement that they've reached between Durbin and Harry Reid and the President-elect Obama as to how we're going to get this problem behind us.
Cutting deals.
Right, because this has to be. We have to move on from this situation.
You know, Matt, was this just a formality for Roland Burris today? I mean, they pretty much gave him some softball questions, and most of the questions were favorable. I mean, do you think that the 21-0 vote was already in the can, regardless of what Roland Burris said today?
Absolutely. And I think that Roland Burris just had to come down there and answer a few questions just to let people know that the politicians, they have to be seen as doing their job.
Yeah.
And the same thing, everybody's piling on Jesse White, but you got to give a brother a break on this situation because if I was him, I would have just said, I got to wait and talk to my counselors and we'll evaluate the situation. But he came out and said he wouldn't sign the certification. I think that was probably a mistake on his part. But now he's just going to wait and hear for the same Supreme Court judges to decide that he has to certify these results. I'm telling you, Roland Burris is going to Washington.
Yes, I think so. 630-575-TALK is the number, 630-575-TALK. I've got Matt Belcher from the law offices of Matt Belcher. Matt, talk to me, man, before we go to break. If the Senate were in a situation where they would have accepted Roland Burris on Tuesday of this week, would he have still had to come back to Springfield for these hearings?
I don't think so, no. This is a political solution. I've been a proponent all along that there's two real factions fighting here. There's the political faction and the legal faction. And the political faction, they don't care what the law always says. What they care about is protecting themselves. And all these politicians, they're all speaking up now because they want to be heard as taking care of business. They want to be seen, they want to be able to say that they were against Blagojevich. But they weren't against him before he got arrested on December the 9th. That's my point.
Yeah. It's flip-flop, and I think we're seeing classic Illinois and Chicago politics. Matt,
kick him when he's down.
Oh, man, there we go. Hold tight.